setbacks can lead us to a feeling of hopelessness and anxiety. And for young people, particularly when they look forward and they're hearing all this, it's their lifetime they're looking ahead at. So, what do we need to do? We're going to ask Jake to come forward, because Jake has been doing some courses on eco-anxiety at his university, but also we're asking Jake to come and give his perspective as a young person on the world that we live in currently.
Thanks everyone, thanks for giving me the space to talk today. So, yeah, it's an exhaustive list, isn't it? Pretty exhaustive list. Even some on there I probably wouldn't have picked out immediately. So it's intense, and yes, it's no lie that this sort of stuff can make us feel super anxious and super, even depressed. Young people around the world are experiencing lots of grief, lots of anxiety about this. But it's not just like young people as well. We see a rise in young people, but it's also in people of all ages as well. There's various reasons that we focus on young people, but today we're just going to consider eco-anxiety. So, I'm in an amazingly fulfilling role down at the university, helping people understand sustainability, climate change. But even I, every day think about all this stuff, and I experience eco-anxiety daily. This year has been, a turning point for me where I realised actually that is a thing, and I need to address that. Perhaps even hourly. I think it's hard sometimes. You'd think working in the sector and actually doing something every day would make things better, but actually in many cases it makes things worse. So eco-anxiety then, just to touch on it briefly, is the strain that the climate and ecological crisis we're in puts on our mental well-being. And the fact is, though, that I'm here today to tell you is eco-anxiety is not the issue. Eco-anxiety is a natural response. It shows we have empathy towards the earth and everything on it. It shows we care deeply. The symptoms, although it's not a clinical condition, the symptoms are natural. It shows we have this empathy. So if you take something home today, think that the eco-anxiety is natural. It's what we're experiencing as a result of our care for the natural world. The issue is what we do with those feelings. So we can have those feelings and go into a massive rut and a big pit and sort of drift into ecophobia, which is complete, depression and sinking in on yourself. Or we can use those feelings to drive higher purpose. We can think about our higher purpose. We can drive action. We can become passionate about it. There's a wonderful phrase in my training that Joe mentioned that I'm actually in the process of doing. We're a ship in a storm, and we've got to learn not only to make our ship weatherproof and face the blunt of those storms. That's really important, I'm going to go on to that. But also what's really important is the background waves of eco-anxiety are going to come. They're going to come all the time. We've got to learn to ride them. We've got to learn to use them to do great things, because those feelings can ignite that passion in our belly and ignite us to do something about it. So like I say, also what's just important is to build that boat strong, right? So the other thing that's really important I was going to talk to you today is, as a young person, is the sense of community, the sense of doing things together. It's really empowering and really positive to come together with like-minded people who care about this stuff as well. That's really important for our mental well-being. Building connections is going to be so important going forward in the changing world that we live in. And it's going to be essential to creating a positive future. That's through church groups, that's through community groups like Turn Lime Green and Plastic Free Lime Regis, even regional and even environmental groups, thinking of the likes like Greenpeace and Extinction Rebellion. So just very, very briefly, what I was going to touch on today is I went up to London with Extinction Rebellion for 2 days of protest in August. It's the second time I've done it. First time I went with a good friend, Grenville Barr from Plastic Free Lime Regis. And I'm here to tell you that the whole process of being up there was so empowering. Being with like-minded people, causing disruption, causing change, whatever you think about it, being there with those people mattered. And being there, you're all as one, and you knew you weren't alone, and you knew that real change actually is really possible. Power to the people, for people and planet. So that's what's coming to talk to you today. So take-home message is to build a nice future, a positive future. We need to embrace our emotions, not run away from them. We need to use them to mobilize our mindsets, instill action and agency in us. And what I'll leave you on is a wonderful phrase that I use with the students down in Falmouth that was said by Christiana Figueres, who I can't remember her exact title, but she worked on the Paris Agreement, which we've heard about is really important in COP. And to sum it up, she said a quote which was, "The world is only made up of individual actions. The people up in COP are going to make some amazing decisions, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to us. individual actions in community is going to be really important. So thanks for hearing me out today. That's what I've all got to say.
Thank you so much, Jake. That was really helpful. And it reminds me of a phrase that Greta Thunberg said. The one thing we need more than hope is action. Once we start to act, hope is everywhere.